And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
The white man is enacting a story all over the world. We left our homes and flooded the world. We smothered culture. We smothered knowledge. We erased history and rewrote it our way. Myself, my grandfather is 100% Ashkenazi Jewish. Claiming to be Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish is just a conspiracy. White men claiming to be of tribes of Israel when I'm Germanic. You know, I have no ties to Israel, no ties to Judaism. You know, except loosely written history that's been whitewashed over for centuries, and you know,
from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, right. You wipe everything clean. It's funny how exactly the Renaissance. It's this rebirth, but it's white rebirth. I think at the same exact time the Renaissance is happening, Columbus is sailing to America and committing genocide.
Only one true ethnic Jew, the Mizrahi Jew, because they are Africans, and if you read the original Bible written in Phoenician Hebrew, they're not. Jewish people are not Europeans. The modern Jews in Israel are Russians or Khazars to be precise, from Russia. I learned it from my grandfather that he was because he was an Ashkenazi Jew.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
Most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt, they've got to give up Israel.
Now, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is northeast Africa. Now, when we look at this map, this is the Sinai, okay? This is the Red Sea. This is Egypt. This is the Sinai. This is Israel. All right, this is Saudi Arabia over here. Now, if you see this in Hebrew, it says Haluach Africani, the African plate. Here it is right here. Israel is sitting right here. Israel is sitting on the Haluach Africani, which means that Israel is northeast Africa.
Without question, we are in northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that.
Europeans classified this area as the Middle East. You know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West? Where the Middle North and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that.
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, how did he say?
No, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to...
Now, the problem for me, it's not about color. It's not about white and black. This is a very reductive way to talk about things. This is the way that Americans talk about it. I'm very sorry. Like, I come from Egypt. Egypt has a very diverse color palette. People can look like me, or they can look deeper skin tone like Anwar Sadat, who comes from a Nubian origin. It's not about black and white. It's not about black and white. It's not about black and white.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
At the end, doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian. At the end, doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian. At the end, doesn't matter the color of your skin. Shemai was Egyptian.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Their bones were discovered in Kafsay caves near Nazareth in Galilee in 1933. 13 fragile skeletons, one a woman, a tiny baby at her feet. When these bones were first uncovered, they were the oldest complete modern human skeletons ever found.
The numerous skeletons that have been found in caves in Israel at the sites of Kafsay and Shkul show us that there were modern humans outside of Africa over 100,000 years ago. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor. Those modern humans may well have gone up the Nile corridor. Those modern
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. We had a great Shabbat on our end. We took our Shabbat on the road, and I had a great time. I the live is on the stream is on the backup channel. We Woke Now Extended. Had a great build out there. I mean, great build out there. It was so good that I really didn't do much of the outline that I had planned because there was a lot of questions that was asked, right? And family, this is what ministry is all about. And if you want our ministry to do a pop-up Shabbat in your area, reach out to me because we're looking to get back to doing some of the things that we were doing, like my cousin and I traveling up and down this coast, witnessing and just bringing this truth to the local area. I mean, to those areas that may not have ministries out there that are actually teaching what we teach here. So, which again, we had a great time today. Really had a great time. And so, before I go on, I want to give a special shout out to my cousin, Shalonda Carr. Family, show us some love. Show us some love. Really appreciate her. She's the wife of my cousin, the late Dr. Sean Carr. So show us some love, family, and really appreciate you, cuz. And let's connect before the weekend is out. So again, family, I hope and pray that you guys had a blessed Shabbat. Really pray that you guys had a blessed Shabbat. And so we're going to go ahead and get into it. And just to give you a brief of what to expect in this lesson here is we're going to deal with Jeremiah. And I know you guys done heard so many different teachings on the second Exodus and all those different things. And, for our second Exodus and fleeing Babylon and, the mark of the beast and, a number of other prophecies that, many are teaching. And, but what you really don't hear is the details on the prophets, the details on that time when the prophecies were written. And when we did the initial second Exodus lesson, I got a lot of positive feedback in my emails, telling, expressing how they were very appreciative of me taking the time out to really teach the backdrop, to give proper clarity, of what was happening during that time, and we're going to continue to do that tonight. We're going to continue to build tonight. But tonight I want to take a different approach. We're going to still continue with the second Exodus teaching, and we'll continue next week. But today I wanted to hone in on one of the prophets, because this particular prophet, you see some major prophecy there, and that's Jeremiah, and we want to deal with him. And one of the things that gets mixed up and get misconstrued is Jeremiah 31. And so we are going to touch on that. We're going to not touch on that tonight. We're going to have to break it up into two because there's so much to unpack here. And I want to give you proper clarity. I want to give you more of an insight of this particular prophet. As you see here, the loneliest prophet, diary of a true prophet. And so I really want to give you more of an idea, an understanding of exactly what he was called to do, some of the things that he had to deal with during his time, and also kind of use this as an opportunity to put to rest some of these, how we've been improperly taught when it comes to prophecy. and operating in, for example, the office of a prophet. Because what's unfortunate is many, whether you're in an apostolic ministry or Kojic, and you have many that's outside of those areas of denomination, religious denominations, have prophecy so warped, misconstrued, what a prophet is, the office and function of a prophet, right? So I want to give you clarity tonight with Jeremiah, to give you a proper understanding of, just to delve into the life, the lens through the scriptures of this particular prophet. And we're going to touch on a couple of others as we continue to give proper clarity of Second Exodus. And if you understand the initial lesson that we did, no, Second Exodus is not the term that we should use. We should use regathering or gathering of Israel. That's the proper context. But let's get into Jeremiah. Let's go and get into Jeremiah. And again, I want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Moderators, you guys already know what to do. Really appreciate you guys for holding it down. You guys already know what to do. If there's anyone trolling, just don't even hesitate. Just go ahead and put them out the chat, because we really don't have time to deal with any trolls. Unfortunately, some of the worst trolls are those that supposedly teaching the word or believe in the Messiah, the Father, his Son, and his Holy Spirit. Those can be some of the worst trolls. So y'all know what to do. If they're being disrespectful, give them the boot. Don't even hesitate. If they, if there's any within the comment section that's kind of taken away from the discussion, give a warning. And if they refuse to adhere to the rules, you guys already know what to do. Just go ahead and just remove them from the chat. All right, family, because just want to make sure those that are really trying to absorb these teachings, they don't have to deal with layers of distractions with conversations that are not conducive to the topic. So let's stay on topic tonight. So let's go to get into it, family. Enough of that. Let's go to get into it. All right. So the loneliest prophet, diary of a true prophet. So let's get into it, family. Right. Jeremiah. Right. To interpret Jeremiah's sermons, one must know of the major movements and trends in the political and economic world of that day. Let me say that again. To interpret Jeremiah's sermons, his prophecies, one must know of the major movements and trends in the political and economic world of that day. In Judah, right, there were five different kings that sat on the throne during Jeremiah's 40 plus years of ministry. Let me say that again. In Judah, there were five different kings that sat on the throne during Jeremiah's 40 plus years of ministry. So the book of Jeremiah, and I want to make this clear, it lacks chronological arrangement. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you what I believe contributed to it when we get to that point. All right. So it's a jigsaw puzzle. Let me say that again. It is a jigsaw puzzle. So the book of Jeremiah contains prophetic discourses, biographical material, historical narratives, arranged without apparent chronological sequence. And I can understand how confusing it can be, because I made a few attempts to try to come up with an order, and it's very hard to do. I would say it's pretty much impossible. All right. So 52 chapters, right, cover a period of more than 40 years. The 52 chapters of this particular book or this particular writings of this prophet covers a period of more than 40 years. 40 years. 52 chapters. The oldest manuscript of Jeremiah is not the original. Let me say that again because I know that may catch some of you guys off guard here. Is that the oldest manuscript of Jeremiah? Guess what, family? It is not the original.
What?
All right. Shout outs to my cousin, Bishop Brown, holding it down. Dr. Bishop Brown holding it down with Boom down in Georgia, as well as Jacksonville, Florida, and Ohio. And I believe Tennessee and some of the other locations that he's branched out to. So I want to say peace and blessings to my cousin. Really appreciate him. And we went up and down this coast. We travel up and down this coast to get this truth out. But I want to say special shout outs to my cousin. All right. So again, the oldest manuscript of Jeremiah is not the original. And I know some of you guys, if not most of you guys, didn't know that. The oldest book of Jeremiah, the oldest manuscript, no matter how old it is, it's not the original. So let's confirm this. Jeremiah chapter 36, verse 27 and 28. Then the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah. After that, the king had burned the roll and the word which Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah. So Baruch was his scribe, right? Baruch was his scribe, Jeremiah's scribe. But notice what we see here. Then the word of Yahweh, and I encourage you guys to read the entire chapter. I'm just highlighting a couple of passages to prove the point that I just made, that the oldest copy of Jeremiah is not the original. And this proves it here. So again, it reads, then the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah. After that, the king had burned the roll. And the words of Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, take thee again another roll and write in it all the former words that were in the first roll, which Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, had burned. So we have the proof right here within the text itself that makes it clear that Jeremiah, right, the original, the oldest copy or the oldest manuscript of Jeremiah is a copy. It's not the original. Okay, so Jeremiah, Yaramiah, excuse me, also answers the questions such as what happened to the bones of the ancient Israelites. Some of this, you guys may remember this, but what happened to the bones of the ancient Israelites? Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 1 through 2 gives clarity. At the time, saith Yahweh, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and the moon and all the host of heaven, whom they have loved, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshiped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. All right. So this is telling us that the reason why you can't find many of the bones, especially of the people during this time, is because we have the answer right here. Right. They dug up the graves. They dug up the graves. When we deal with we're dealing with the Babylonians. Right. To have the remains of our ancestors to sit out in the sun, to wither, to literally, as you see here, become fertilizer. This is basically when you start dealing with cremation, right? Cremation is not an Israelite culture. Cremation, when you really study uh, the Near East, the countries in the Near East, you don't see cremation. Now, when you start getting into cremation, you start dealing with the Norse religions, the Germanic religions or people. That's how they, honor the lost loved ones. But in the Israelite culture, right, there was no cremation, because cremation from a Israelite perspective, right, that's blotting someone out. That's what the Babylonians made every attempt to blot out the existence of Israel. Makes you think about the 83rd book of Psalms, the crafty counsel. So again, it says, they shall be for dung upon the face of the earth, and death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family. Right? Dealing with the king. The king was evil, which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, saith Yahweh of hosts. All right. So why is Jeremiah the loneliest prophet of faith? Why is he the loneliest out of all the prophets? If you want to post your answers of your thoughts on why Jeremiah is the loneliest of all the prophets, go ahead and post your comments there, and I'll read them out and give some shout outs in the process of that. So why is Jeremiah considered? Why would you think I said that Jeremiah is, for me, is the loneliest of all the prophets? Probably one of the loneliest of all the individuals you'll come by inside the scriptures. So post your comments inside the comment section, and we'll read it out. If you don't know, it's nothing wrong with not knowing. All right, because I'm going to give you the answer anyway. So let me give you a second here. All right, let me give you a second here, and then we'll go ahead and answer some of these. Read some of your comments, and then we'll give the answer. All right, let's see here. Let me see. I'm posting my Cash App as well for those that want to um, contribute to the works here. The Cash App is there. And let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right. So let me look at some of the comments here. Let's see here. Ari Land, not sure. Yah's son, he went against Israel alone. Okay. Shout outs to Yah's son. Peace and blessings to you, my brother. Let's see here. Who else here? Son of Judah. It really said our ancestors spoke out their mouths to let Yahushua blood be on themselves and their ancestors, which is us. And this is why, all right, let me go ahead and that's not answering the question. All right. He was hated for the truth. Okay. Jax, I'm not sure. Don't know. Shout outs to you. Shalom to Soy, SOY. Shout outs to you. Shalom to you. Let's see here. See some answers here. They imprisoned him in a dungeon. I want to say shout outs to Sister Dee. Let's see here. Let's see. Yaquaba, his fiance was killed. All right. Let's see what else we have here. The prophetic word was a hard graphic message that many, even his own family, found hard to receive. Okay. All right. Getting some great answers here. Let's see here. Makaya. Let's see here. Because Judah was in captivity or going into captivity at the time. All right, we're gonna read a few more, then I'm going to give you the answer here. Appreciate the participation. Rita D, want to say shout outs to you. The Most High dropped some heavy stuff on the brother. El, who did he have to turn to and share this with? Not many others would understand. All right. Appreciate it. And thank you for the love and support. My sister here, Sister Carol, because of his prophecies, he spoke and King Josiah didn't like it. All right, getting some great answers. Getting some great answers. Jerry Carroll, not sure. Let's see here. Yah's son, the Lord made him made the Lord him made, or the Lord made him a walking nation by himself. All right, okay. A few more, then we're gonna get to give the answer. Jeremiah, and shout outs to Tone. I was thinking of Tone. Jeremiah preached and prophesied negative things that our people didn't want to hear. So very few people like him or really wanted him around. Jeremiah walked alone, basically. All right. So let's see here. Uh, Mr. The Original, Jeremiah truly laments and bitterly weeps for Israel, his people, as the loneliest prophet. All right. Appreciate it. You guys giving some great answers. You guys are giving some great answers. All right. Let's see here. I'll read one more before we give the answer. All right. Let's see here. Son of Judah. I think because Yah, dropped this burden on him and agreed to the terms because of how much he desired Israel to walk in the truth and spirit. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's give the answer here. I know this is going to be an eye opener for many of you guys, but let's go ahead and give the answer. Let's answer this question. In general, biblical prophets led fairly unhappy, right, and alienated lives. When I mean unhappy, they had to deal with a lot of opposition, condemned by their profession to say the things their fellow citizens least wanted to hear. The depression to which this sort of isolation can lead lies at the root of Elijah's prayer to Yahweh. Right? When we go to 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 4, we'll see how depressed Elijah was. It says here, but he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die and said, "It is enough. Now, O Yahweh, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers." So here it is. He just did shortly prior to this. He through the Most High, he did performed a great miracle, and the results of that was him slaughtering the priest of Jezebel. Well, after he slaughtered all those priests of Jezebel, Jezebel put a contract on his life, and Elijah fled out of fear. And as you see here, he became suicidal. He was so depressed. He felt like he was by himself. He felt like he was alone. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die and said, "It is enough now, O Yahweh. Take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers." So Jeremiah can be singled out from this group. In other words, when I say this group, the prophets, because we know the details of his desolation better than that of other prophets, right? Jeremiah has a further dubious distinction, and here it is. He is the only prophet in scripture who is denied a family. That's right. Jeremiah was denied a family. Let me say that again. He is the only prophet in scripture who is denied a family. Let's get some scripture behind this. Let's start with Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 1 and 2. And I know this is going to surprise many of you guys. Verse 1, the word of Yahweh came also unto me, saying, "Thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place." So you see, the scriptures, Jeremiah is bearing witness that the Most High told him not to have a wife, neither have any produce any sons or daughters, right, in this place. But he didn't stop there. Why did Yahweh give him this command? Why would he tell him? Let's go back here. Why did he tell him that thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. So why did Yahweh give this command to him? Why did he give him this command? Well, let's go to verse 3 through 5, and we're going to give the answer right here. It says, for thus saith Yahweh concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bear them, and concerning their fathers that begat them in this land. Notice what verse 4 is going to say. They shall, they shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented. In other words, no mourning, right? No mourning services. Neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. For thus saith Yahweh. Now notice this here. Enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, nor bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people, saith Yahweh, even loving kindness and mercies. Man, notice this here. We're going to get to the root of the answer. Jeremiah was also told not to honor the feast with them. He couldn't even honor the feast days among the people. He had to do all of this in isolation. Jeremiah was told not to honor the feast days with the people. Jeremiah, going back to Jeremiah 16, verse 8, notice this here. Thou shalt not go, let me read it again. Thou shalt not also go into the house of feasting to sit with them to eat and to drink. So the Most High told him, don't even celebrate the feast days with the people. This is how evil, this is how bad Judah was at this time. And we're seeing a lot of this behavior even now in the day and times that we live in. Thou shalt not also go into the house of feasting to sit with them to eat and to drink. All right. So why did Yahweh give him this command? Right? Why did he give him this command? He was told not to have, not to be married, can't have any children. He can't even honor the feast days with the people. He had to stay separate. Right? Why would Yahweh give him this command? And family, can you do what Jeremiah did? Because we have a lot of people that want to hold the titles of being a prophet. But do you see this type of dedication? See, the things that many call prophecy today, it's not prophecy. You know, especially when you go into the church, especially if you go into like an apostolic ministry or a Pentecostal ministry, you know, you see the prophet standing up, you know, at the altar, and it's almost like you're watching the Wizard of Oz, right? Someone coming up because they want to have a heart, another one want to come up because, you know, they want to have a brain, another one want to come up and they want to go back to Kansas, and another one comes up and they just want to have courage. You know what I mean? It's like the Wizard of Oz. You know, the prophet, like he's guessing, he or she is guessing, trying to figure out what they're going to say. That's not prophecy, family. That's not prophecy whatsoever. Right? But just as you see Jeremiah's walk gives you a glimpse of what it means to be a prophet. This type of prophet, these type of prophets don't exist anymore. So anyone that makes that would try to make any attempt to put them on this level, flee for them, run from them. Right? So why did Yahweh give him this command? Why did Yahweh give Jeremiah this command? The answer is in verse 11 through 13 in this same chapter. Family, I'm telling you, Judah was off the chain. Notice what it says here. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, other deities, and have served them, and have worshiped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my laws. Let me read that again, family. Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, other deities, and have served them, and have worshiped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my laws. Verse 12, and ye have done worse than your fathers. Whoa, wait a minute. The people at this time, Judah, had done worse than the Israelites that came out of Egypt. Done worse than those guys, done worse than the Israelites that went through multiple captivities when we read through the book of Judges. Says that they have done worse. Says, and ye have done worse than your fathers. For behold, ye walk everyone after the imagination, right? Sharar Wath, after the imagination, plural, of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Hearken, Shammai, or Shammai, which means listen with intelligence. It means discernment. It means obedient. So, and ye have done worse than your fathers, for behold, ye walked everyone after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Verse 13, therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there shall ye serve other deities, other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. So let's go back here. Ye have done worse than your fathers. Behold, ye walk everyone after the imagination of his evil heart. So when you really put this in this proper perspective, you could say, as the time of Noah. Because when you go to Genesis chapter 6, the Most High said man's heart was evil continuously. But now we see Israel's heart is evil continuously. Everything that they thought of, they executed. Every single thing that they can ever think, whatever was in their imagination, they executed. They acted upon. As today you hear the term living their truths, because that's the buzzword tonight, right? I mean, not tonight, but that's the buzzword in the time that we live in. Because many use that buzzword of I'm living my truth. No, there's only one truth. That's the Most High's truth. But many are under this delusion that we all live our truth. In other words, ye walk everyone after the imagination of his evil heart. Right? So, such as the time of Noah, this is the same thing that was happening among Judah, the southern kingdom, because the northern kingdom was already in captivity. So this is Judah, the tribe, the Benjamites, and the Levites. Verse 13, therefore I will cast you out of this land into a land that ye know not, neither ye nor your fathers, and there ye shall serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. So let's look up the word imagination. Let's see what it means in Hebrew. As you see here, in the sense of twisted, an example, firm, obstinacy, all right, stubbornness, hardness. So they were stubborn, they were hard. I mean, they was, in a nutshell, they were stuck on doing what they wanted to do. And I'm gonna give you an example of this, right? This gives you the level of just how bad Judah was at this time. Right? You guys remember this because I did a lesson called the spirit of Shekinah, the spirit of I can't even think of the lesson now. Defiance. The spirit of defiance. Right? This is that same passage. Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15 through 19. This is what it says. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other deities, other gods, and all the women stood by a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, and family, this should be a red flag right here. Because notice, you have Israelites that are living in the land of Egypt. Because many of the Israelites fled to Egypt during one of the times that the Babylonians came to invade. So we see this here in Jeremiah under the Babylonian captivity, and we also see this under the Assyrian captivity. Wait a minute. So we see twice that Israel fled to Egypt, but we hear the term second Exodus. See, we're going to deal with Isaiah. We're going to go back into the meat and potatoes next weekend, but I just want to give you a little more insight of Jeremiah. So remember, when we touched on Isaiah, I went to the scripture to show this that the particular passage that many get the term second Exodus from. But when you study the Assyrian captivity, when you study Isaiah, Israel was already going down to Egypt. Many of them fled to Egypt and hoping to get away from the Assyrian, to avoid the Assyrian captivity. So here we see in Jeremiah, we see Israel during the Babylonian captivity. Wait a minute, that's two. If we want to go with the term Exodus, that's two moments right here. Two captivities, two situations where Israel fleeing to Egypt. But notice what we see here. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other deities, and all the women stood by, a great multitude, even all the people dwelt in the land of Egypt, and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of Yahweh, we will not hearken unto thee. So guess what? The women told the prophet, yeah, we know that you speaking the words of Yah, but we're not going to listen to you. This is the same spirit we see today. We don't care what you say. We are still going to do what we choose to do. That's what they're saying here. They are still going to do what they choose to do, period. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth. Out of the abundance of the mouth, the heart speak. So when you look at the pa, right? The Hebrew letter pa, it means mouth. It means mind. Mouth, mind, command, pa. One of the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So alap bayath. So this is where, again, when Paul says, let this mind be in you that is in the Messiah, he's saying, let the words that come out of your mouth be in alignment with the Messiah. So pa means mouth. It also means mind. So the people is making it clear, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, Queen Mother, Mother Queen, Eve, Lilith, Asherah, Astarte, Anana, Semiramis. We could go right down the list of them. All ties it to the Queen of Heaven. And to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes, and in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then we had plenty of victuals and were well and saw no evil. See, what they're saying is, hey, you know what? We must not be doing anything bad because we're still being blessed in the process. Whether, like today, hey, you know what? I'm eating pork. I'm eating shrimp. I must be doing something good because I'm still living. I'm still standing. The Most High, I'm still being blessed in the middle of it. Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not honoring the Shabbat because guess what? As long I'm still being blessed, My prayers are still being answered. Man, I have an overflow blessing. That's what they're saying right here. They are saying, in a nutshell, what just summarizing their thoughts here, they're saying, and were well and saw no evil. So they're making it clear. Hey, you know what? We've been doing this for quite some time. We did not see any evil. We must be doing something right. I'm sure you guys heard this before. Sure, you guys heard this before. Trying to witness to someone, whether it's a loved one, telling them to stop doing certain things, and they say, "Hey, can't be all that bad. I'm still here. I'm still being blessed in the midst of it." So, but since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make cakes to worship her? In other words, they said not only did we give drink offerings, man, we done bake cakes for her. This is dealing with, again, cookies and milk for Santa, and poured out drink offerings unto her without our men. So they're making it clear they're being defiant to the prophet. So this is the behavior. This is the mindset of the people at that time. So the remnant of the refugees who fled the promised land stubbornly refused to repent. Right? They were stiff-necked and hard-hearted against Yahweh. Right? No matter how much Yahweh appealed to them or how often he poured out his mercies and blessings upon them, they never would repent. They rejected his prophet Jeremiah and refused to listen to Yahweh's words. Both the men and women were condoning and engaging in false worship, and they were clear that they were not about to give up their false deities. See, when you start understanding this as well, this is where you start getting into the things that they were doing for fertility, which is synonymous to prosperity ministries, right? Israel began to get into all kinds of temple orgies and temple prostitution, right? To ensure that there's a good harvest, the planting of the seed. And then nine months later, the results is birth, right? They're so-called messiahs. This is why Christmas is celebrated in the timeline that is celebrated, exactly 9 months after the spring equinox. Remember, spring represents fertility. 9 months later, that baby is born. That's what Israel was engaging in. You can confirm this even when you read Jeremiah chapter 2, Jeremiah chapter 7, Jeremiah chapter 10. You can confirm this. All right. So both the men and women were condoning and engaging in false worship, and they were clear that they were not about to give up their false gods. So after Jeremiah completed his message of judgment, all the people rejected him and refused to take heed. So again, why did Yahweh give him this command to not have any children, not be married, don't honor feast days with them, separate himself? Why? Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 44. We're still in the same chapter, but let's highlight verse 1-3. This is going to confirm what I already highlighted. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all of Judah, right? All of Judah, it should have been all of Judah, which dwelt in the land of Egypt, which dwelt in Migdal and at Tapanes, or Tapanhes, and Naph, and at Naph, and in the country of Pathros. So these are all Egyptian territories, right? Migdal, Tapanhes, Naph, and Pathros. These are all Egyptian territories. So the word that came to Jeremiah concerning all Judah, which dwell in the land of Egypt. Yes, family, Israel's back in Egypt again. See, this is why I say, family, this is why I say we have to really understand and study these writings and not just be dependent on hearing prophecies or grabbing hold of surface prophecies. See, when you start delving into just this book right here, I know most of you guys had no clue that Israel was in Egypt again, occupying 4 territories in Egypt. They went back to Egypt. Many of them went back to Egypt and even took Jeremiah with them, forced him to go with them, trying to circumvent the invasion of the Babylonians. They did that in Isaiah. And, they trying to circumvent the judgment of the Syrians by way of the Most High giving the passing judgment on them. What did they do? They fled. Leaders went to Egypt, trying to enter into all kinds of agreements. You could read Isaiah chapter 30 through 33, and you can confirm all of this. So Israel is in Egypt. Judah fled to Egypt. Come on, family. So this is why I say when we study Revelation, we have to accurately know exactly what's going on in these letters before we start running with certain terms. That's why when I hear the term Second Exodus, Second Exodus is not something new. That's something that's been tossed around for decades upon decades. But when you study and understand the prophets, you understand, like, wait a minute, Second Exodus. Wait a minute. Let's put it in its proper perspective, because Exodus is going to have you automatically default to Egypt. You're going to start expecting prophecies to line up with how Israel came out of Egypt. That's the furthest from the case, furthest from the truth, right? But we do know, as we see here, as we covered the first lesson of Second Exodus, I proved to you that Israel went into Egypt trying to avoid this Syrian captivity. Now we see the Babylonian captivity, and what happened? Judah, because the Assyrian captivity, we're dealing with the northern kingdom. Now, when we get to the Babylonians, now we're dealing with the southern kingdom. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to go right into Egypt. Come on, family. We see it right here. They're occupying Egypt. They ran to Egypt. And I'm going to go into more details of this during the part 2 of this lesson here. Verse 2, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. So, guys, if you want to get more clarity about what I just mentioned, what led to them fleeing to Egypt, start at chapter 40. Read chapter 40 through 43, chapter 40 through 43. You can get the full understanding of why Judah fled to Egypt, trying to circumvent the judgment. So thus saith Yahweh of hosts, Elohim of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon the cities of Judah. So Jerusalem represents the headquarters, the heart of Israel. This is where the remnant dwelt at. The remnant, a tenth of every tribe. So that's why this is highlighted. This is also where the royalty, the king, this is where he dwelled. This is where the temple is. So Jerusalem is the capital. So the remnant of all 12 tribes was living in Jerusalem and upon the cities of Judah. And behold, this day they are desolation, and no man dwelleth therein. Verse 3, because of their wickedness, which they have committed to provoke me to anger, and that they went to burn incense and to serve other deities, other gods whom they knew not, neither they, ye, nor your fathers. So guess what? Yahweh issued a scathing indictment of those who fled the promised land for Egypt. Think about this, family. They fled Jerusalem, the promised land. The Most High was telling them, don't leave, but they fled anyway. They fled the promised land to go to Egypt. They still operated in the spirit of the first generation that came out of Egypt. Remember, they kept throwing it out there that they would rather go back to Egypt, that they were better off in Egypt. And what cost them their opportunity to go to the promised land, to enter the promised land, is that they decided, the Israelites at that time, they were going to remove Moses and Aaron and put their own leader in place, install their own leader, and who was going to lead them back to Egypt. You could confirm this with Nehemiah. So here it is. This group of people are worse than them. They are worse than them. That's what the scripture says. So Yahweh issued a scathing indictment of those who fled the promised land for Egypt. Right? So when we go here, again, as I highlighted, there were 4 major settlements of Judah and Egypt. Jeremiah mentions 4 specific ones. As we highlighted, Midgal, Tahpanhes, and Memphis in Lower Egypt, the northern part of the nation, those Israelites living in Upper Egypt, the southern part of the nation. So going back to the point here, Jeremiah was commanded to remain single because of the message that he was destined to deliver. But also we see just how wicked the people were. But primarily, I believe it's because the message that he had to deliver, right? So can you imagine that you were given this knowledge from Yahweh? Would you want to bring children into this world? Think about all the prophecy, the vision that the Most High had given Jeremiah. Would you even want to bring children into this world knowing what they were going to have to deal with? Right? Think about it. Can you imagine that? The Most High told him, no children, don't get married, don't even celebrate the feast days with the people. Come on, family. Jeremiah's prophecies, right, begins during a short, again, as I pointed out, rare period of well-being within Judah's history in the reign of King Josiah, right? So again, Jeremiah's prophecy begins during a short, rare period of well-being within Judah's history, right? The reign of Josiah. Josiah was a a reformer king who tried to eliminate idolatry from Israel according to Torah. When Yahweh appeared to Jeremiah, he made a remarkable statement, which suggests that a person's soul comes into existence prior to his birth, his or her birth, right? When you really go into the text there, I didn't put it up here, but we also, going back over the overview of Jeremiah, I'm not going to go to this too in depth because this is still overlapping the initial lesson. But the book of Jeremiah and 2 Kings confirms the Babylonian captivity, right? The first invasion of Judah and Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar took place in 605 BC. And we can confirm this with 1 Kings chapter 23, verse 34 through 37, right? You could confirm this here. I'm not going to go into the details of it because, again, I had already gone through this in lesson number 1. I'll just touch on it just a little bit, but I'm not going to go into the depth of what I did in lesson 1. I just want to give you a quick understanding of the prophet himself, Jeremiah, or why I refer to him as the loneliest of all the prophets. So when we look here, we see 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 34 through 37. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, the son of Josiah, king in the room of Josiah, his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. So we see the influence of the Egyptians. The Egyptians made Eliakim, right, the son of Josiah, king in room of Josiah, his father, right, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. So the Egyptians changed Eliakim changed his name to Jehoiakim and took Ahaz, right? Jehoahaz, excuse me, away, and he came to Egypt and died there. So you see the influence of Egypt among Judah. Verse 35, and Jehoiakim gave the silver and gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandments of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and gold of the people of the land, of every one according to his taxation, right? So we see Israel fled to Egypt. Now they in bondage again to the Egyptians. Egyptians didn't have no power, but Israel kept giving them power. Even Ezekiel talks about how the Most High broke the arms of Pharaoh, but Israel continuously gave the Egyptians power, right? So Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother was named Zebudah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. Right? Verse 37, and he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father had done. So Jehoiakim was placed on the throne by Egypt. Come on, family. I hope y'all understand this. See, again, when you start understanding this history, then you can understand why when you hear the term second Exodus, it's a questionable term. Second Exodus, we see we can prove that that's not an accurate label. Gathering is a more accurate label, regathering or gathering. But we see here again, let me see if I can pull up Isaiah real quick so you guys can see what I mean. Right? Because again, Israel, during Isaiah's time, Israel went into Egypt. And let me just bring that up real quick. Let me see here. I'm going to switch presentations real quick so you can see exactly what I was saying, what I'm saying here. Let me switch real quick so that way you guys can understand. Israel was a joke, man. Israel was a mess, rather. They had a lot going on, family. Let's go here. Let me bring up this one here. You know, this is kind of short here. I hope I didn't hack it. Is it this one, the second Exodus? I know I did a lot of them. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Okay, I thought I had to. I was wondering why it was so short. All right, so let me close the other one out. Let me close this one out. All right, this is the one I'm looking for. All right, let me share this one. And I'm just going to go to the section about Egypt. And family, please make a note of it because it's imperative for you to make a note of this. All right. And then just go back over and study. Just go back over and study. Confirm whether or not if what I'm saying is true. I don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it. That's why I'm giving you all these scripture reference so you could go back and confirm. All right. So let's see here. Let's go here. All right. Let's go to Isaiah. Right. Let me go to that section here right now. Now, notice here. Here we go. Isaiah chapter 30. Let's go back here. Yep. Let's go back here. Let's go back here. Let me see where I'm at here. Right. Let's start at. And why is this doing this? Not sure it's doing something crazy here. Let's start here. Isaiah chapter 31. All right. Now that's the Egypt one. Let me go back here. It's one passage slide I'm looking for. All right. Let's start at here. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 12 and 13. Right? And it shall come to pass that Yahweh shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. Right? So we still see Egypt here, right? Egypt. But notice here in verse 13, and it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship Yahweh in the holy mount of Jerusalem. So we see how Egypt is highlighted here. But Israel was already delivered from Egypt. Remember when we study Exodus chapter 12? They came out with reparations and everything. But now we see outcasts, right? We see Israelites. We see Northern Kingdom. We see them in the land of Egypt. Why do we see them in the land of Egypt? Let's fast forward here. All right. Let's go to what I highlighted. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1 through 3. Notice what Israel's doing. Woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering. Telling you, family, be careful of that covering stuff. You know, in church, hey, you got to have a covering. Yeah, Malachi chapter 2 talks about that as well. All right. But anyway, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Verse 2, that walk to go down into Egypt. So Israel is going to Egypt. Leaders are going to Egypt, trying to circumvent the judgment of the threat of the Assyrians, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and trust in the shadow of Egypt. Because Egypt is not built like that. That's the Most High saying. Egypt has been stripped of its power. But Israel, only power they have is the power that Israel is giving them. Verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust of the shadow of Egypt your confusion. We see a lot of confusion in our community now. Right? But anyway, Yahweh pronounced a woe, a strong warning of judgment on the rebellious people of Judah because they continued to refuse his help. Time and time again, they rejected Yahweh and their hearts became hardened. So a rebellious Judah formed an alliance with the Egyptians, right? Because Assyrians had already got the northern kingdom. Now Judah is in fear of the Egyptians coming to get, I mean, not the Egyptians, but the Assyrians coming to get them. So what do? They formed an alliance with Egypt. So a rebellious Judah formed an alliance with the Egyptians. Judah was facing a great threat by the Assyrians, and so the leaders believed that the nation's only hope was to form an alliance with Egypt. All right. Let's skip this real quick. All right. Don't need to get into all of that. But Isaiah chapter 31, verse 1 through 3. Notice what it says here. This woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. Verse 2, yet he also is wise and will bring evil and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of evil of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity. So Judah's hope was not to be found in the military might of Egypt, but rather in the power of Yah. And the backbone of the Egyptians is their special forces, their horse and chariots. So Israel is seeking salvation from the Egyptians because of their special forces. They're seeking salvation and going back to Egypt. We see this in Isaiah. Like I said, Judah seeking to go to Egypt during this the Assyrian threat. Right? They're going to Egypt during the Assyrian threat, and they're going to Egypt while they already been invaded by the Babylonians. Right? So Isaiah chapter 31, verse 3, notice what it says is here, family, and we'll skip back over to the other lesson. Now the Egyptians are men and not Elohim. Yours would say God. Now the Egyptians are men, not God. And the horses flesh and not spirit. Right? When Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, Yod, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that hopeth shall fall down, and they shall fail together. So we see in Isaiah is making it clear about the about Judah going into Egypt. Now we see, as I highlighted in Jeremiah, Judah going into Egypt, occupying 4 territories in Egypt. Family, this is our people here. And this is the same behaviors we see on display today. Many of our brothers and sisters can't let go of Egypt. Cannot let go of Egypt. Let me just look at one more thing here. Right? Notice this here. This is the prophecy, the words of Ezekiel in regards to Egypt. Ezekiel chapter 30. Son of man, I have broken the arm of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and lo, it shall not be bound up to be healed, to put a roller to bind it, to make it strong to hold a sword. He said, look, I done broke the arms of Pharaoh. You could put it up in a splint. You could try to make it heal. He said, I will break it again. They will never be able to hold a sword, right? They will never be able to have that authority again. Thus, going back to Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14. Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today will not have power over you ever again. The Most High shall fight for you, but you have to hold your peace. But notice what we see here. Israel given them power. Israel given them power. Verse 22. Therefore saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, I am against Pharaoh. Notice what he said. I am against Pharaoh of Egypt, and will break his arms, the strong, and that which was broken, I will cause the sword to fall out of his hand. So he said, hey, okay, you put his arm in a splint and his arm get healed. All right. Guess what? I'm gonna break it again to make sure that he will never have power again. But Israel keeps holding up the sword for him, for the Egyptians. Verse 23, and I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations and will disperse them throughout the countries. So for about 40-year period, the Egyptians were being scattered as well. You see the prophecies here. Come on, family. It's right there in front of us. It's right there in front of us. Let me see if there's one more thing I want to cover out of Isaiah real quick. Yeah, let me highlight this real quick. Let me make sure this is what I want to cover. Then we'll go back over to Jeremiah. Let me make sure. That's not what I want. Let me see here. Let me skip down. I'm telling you, Israel was off the chain, family. Israel was off the chain. Here we go. Going back here, right? Isaiah chapter 27, verse 12. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh will beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered. Laquat, that's the proper term, be gathered one by one. Akkad, O ye children of Israel. And and it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcast in the land of Egypt, and shall worship Yahweh in the holy mountain. So why we keep saying second Exodus? Why we keep running with the term second Exodus? This is why I don't roll with that term, family. So let me go ahead and close out this. And let me bring the other one back up. I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section. All right. See a couple of my brothers and sisters in the chat, and I'm going to drop this in there again. So let me just highlight one more thing. Let me go back here. Let me bring Jeremiah back up here. All right. All right, let's see here. All right. So Jehoiakim was placed on the throne by Egypt and had his name changed by Pharaoh Necho. He changed it from Eliakim to Jehoiakim. Why is this important? By forcing a name change, and think about this, family. The other nations, by changing our names, giving us whatever names they wanted to give us, our ancestors, by forcing a name change, Pharaoh Necho was indicating Egypt's dominance and a mark of Jehoiakim's subjection. See, whenever a nation takes your heritage and give you a name that they want to give you, that's them displaying their power, showing that we're subjected to them. What did the Babylonians do when they initially raided Judah? Led away, took away captives, Daniel and so forth. He changed their names, gave them Babylonian names. Instead of their Israelite names that was pointing to Yah, they gave them names that was pointing to Baal, right? Asherah. They was giving them names that pointed to the groves. So by forcing a name change, dominant was and mark of Jehoiakim's subjection. So Jehoiakim, again, was 25 years old when he became king and reigned for a term of 11 years under the domination of Egypt. Jehoiakim lived a very wicked life. Instead of following in the way of the righteous steps of his father Josiah, he followed the example of the wicked kings who had ruled before him. Jehoiakim surrendered to Nebuchadnezzar. Judah became a vassal state to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar allowed Jehoiakim to remain in power as a puppet king, kind of like the Manchurian candidate, right? So 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1 through 4. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahweh sent against him bands of the Chaldees, the bands of Syrians, the bands of Moabites, and the bands of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake by his servants, the prophets. Surely at the commandment of Yahweh came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and Yahweh would not pardon him. So for 3 years, Jehoiakim willingly subjected himself and paid the annual tribute to Nebuchadnezzar. He foolishly rebelled because Egypt had launched a surprise attack. See, he buddied up with Egypt again, thinking that Egypt was going to defeat the Babylonians. So he rebelled against the Babylonians to go join Egypt again, go back to Egypt, right? Because Egypt had launched a surprise attack against the army of Babylon, and defeated them in a major battle. Sensing that he could now throw off the yoke of Babylon, Jehoiakim turned to the Egyptians, because remember, they changed his name, to form an alliance. Nebuchadnezzar needed to rebuild his army, had to wait some time to put down the uprising. So when we deal with the second invasion of Judah and Jerusalem, it occurred in 597 BC. Nebuchadnezzar took 10,000 Israelites, mostly skilled workers, to Babylon. And we can confirm this with 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 8 through 14. I'm not going to read it all, but just make a note, family. But this confirms exactly what I pointed out. All right. So when we go to, let me see, I'm just scrolling through it. So when we go to Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 24 through 30, we still confirming this here. As I live, saith Yahweh, though Coniah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet upon my right hand, yet I will pluck thence thee, and I will give thee into the hand of them that seeketh thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fearest, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. and into the hands of the Chaldeans. And I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country, where ye were not born, there shall ye die. But to the land whereunto they desire to return, thither shall they not return. Is this man Coniah a despised broken idol? Is he a vessel wherein is no pleasure? Wherefore are they cast out, he and his seeds, and are cast into a land which they know not? O earth, 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 hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh, write ye this man childless. Now we know he wasn't childless, but I'll explain it to you in a second. A man that shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper sitting upon the throne of David. So notice it says, write this man childless. But then at the same time, it says, his seed shall not prosper. All right. In other words, he's removing their royalty, their right to the throne, and ruling anymore in Judah. So in that day, a king wore a signet ring as a symbol of his authority. He pressed its imprint on legal documents to show that the papers were official and that the king's authority stood behind the document. So because of King Jehoiakim's evil lifestyle, Yahweh said that he would take away the king's Yah given authority. Both Jehoiakim and his mother, the queen, would be handed over to the king Nebuchadnezzar and exiled to Babylon. Jehoiakim would never return to the promised land. So, like a broken, useless pot, he would be a king that no one wanted. 3 times Jeremiah called on the land to hear the word of Yahweh. None of his sons would succeed him on the throne, which meant that he would be the last of the kings of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon would place Zedekiah, Joachim's uncle, upon the throne. Right? So Nebuchadnezzar took his uncle and put him on the throne. All right. So we could talk about the third invasion. Let me see how much time, what time it is. All right, let me highlight the third invasion real quick, and then I'll drop the link. Actually, I'm gonna drop the link in to the chat right now. Let's see here. Let me check. Dropped it right now. All right, let's drop that right now. All right, just looking at the time here. And family, if you haven't, hit the like, subscribe to the channel. The Cash App is posted there too for those that want to contribute to the works here. Also, actually, believe it or not, to my surprise, I had noticed that my channel was monetized again. So the super chats and all that stuff is working. For those that don't feel comfortable with using the Cash App, the super chats and all that is working as well. All right, so let me do something real quick. All right, I was just glancing at something here. All right. All right. All right. So real quick, until we get someone jumping on here, I'll put the link inside the comment section. So let's deal with the third invasion real quick. All right. Let's deal with the third invasion. This is a kind of refresher. Third invasion, Judah and Jerusalem occurred in 586 BC. During this time, the temple was burned and the city destroyed. Almost all remaining inhabitants was raptured to Babylon, right? Raptured to Babylon. And this is what raptured means. And this is why I purposely said rapture, act of carrying off. But the key is seizure, rape, kidnapping, carrying off, abduction, snatching away, rape. All right. When we go to Jeremiah 39, verse 1 and 2, in the 9th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 10th month came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army against Jerusalem, and they besieged it. And in the 11th year, Zedekiah, in the 4th month, the 9th day of the month, the city was broken up. All right. And then we can even look at and highlight the 70-year prophecy. which I'm not going to get into all of this. I'm going to save this for when I do part two. Yeah, I'm going to stop right here. All right. I'll wait till I do part two to second Exodus. All right. Like I said, this lesson, I just wanted to uh, give you a little backdrop on Jeremiah. All right. Want to say shout outs to Yaquaba. Thank you for the super sticker. Really appreciate you, my brother. Show some love for Yaquaba, who's been supporting for quite some time. Really appreciate you. All right. So, as you see here, family, again, Jeremiah getting right back to a prophet, right? Be careful, family. We can't get caught up in these different titles, right? We have to use discernment. See, for me, when I hear people, teach on prophecy, guess what? I'm looking for. Okay, let me hear. Let me see if I'm going to get any type of historical content, accurate historical content, not just what we see today. Uh, Give me some uh, hermeneutics, some precepts. Show me your methodology. I want to hear you give me expound properly. Give me a historical overview layout of Jeremiah during that time. Then, when I hear you teach prophecy out of that, whether it's Jeremiah, it's not just dealing with Jeremiah, but any of the prophets or any of the books. I want to hear if you know the historical context of whatever book you're making reference to. Then that's going to help me determine whether or not if I should listen to you. Family, we've been duped for so long in the church, and we should not allow this to continue to happen. We should have our discernment, uh, gifts of discernment at an all-time high. We should have it fully charged because there's so much stuff that is out here among those that are teaching this word. All right. So with that being said, family, I'm gonna give it another couple of minutes. I'm gonna drop the link one more time. All right. I encourage you guys, go to We Woke Now Extended. I had a great build out to a location. We did a pop up Shabbat out there, had a great time. And you'll hear one of the interactions, man. I mean, it was a few, it was a brother, man, that came there. Man, he asked some great questions right off the top. So I really didn't do much of my lesson. I just adjusted to what was in front of me and the questions. We had some great questions that was coming, and so it's right there for you to see it. Let me go ahead and post that inside the chat here for those that are not subscribed to the We Woke Now Extended. I think it's sitting at 2,700 subscribers. Family, let's get that up to 3,000 subscribers. All right, let me just go ahead and get the login right now to my browser here, and I'll post it here in a second. All right. Let's see here. All right. I'm just going to post it right now. Let's see here. All right. This is the We Woke Extended. Let me get it out now. All right. So yeah, we had 2,750 subscribers. So just want to encourage everyone. Let's get that up to 3,000. Also, if you haven't, hit the like and subscribe to this channel. Appreciate you guys for putting us over for 41,000. Also, let's get those likes up. Right now, we at 141. We got over 300 people inside the watching the stream. So let's get those numbers up. Let's get the likes up. Let's hit 200 before we conclude. But in the interim, let me bring Brother Don in real quick. And as he's speaking, let's get that 141 number up. Let's get it up to 200 before we conclude this stream. All right, Brother Don.
Pastor Kelly, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're clear. Sound much better than the other one.
Okay. Yeah, no, because it's like it's crazy. It's like I can use this system and you can hear me okay on the StreamYard. And it's like, oh brother, we can't hear you. But then it's like I'm listening to in my studio, I'm listening to the playback, which is a 10-second delay, and it's I can hear me fine. So, it's a lot going on right now in Yasharel, man. And I really know that you understand the twists and the bends that are going on in the games that people are playing. And it is imperative at this time the gates are closing that we pay attention to those individuals that are giving us the accurate information. You would be one of those individuals, Pastor Kelly. Um, you see a lot of people out there that they look good. They could be forging forward in terms of your interest, but they're not. They're not. Because as soon as you start speaking the truth, then you get shut down. And I know I'm speaking kind of esoteric, but I just had an experience tonight, and another brother had where the brother was addressing a current issue, with this whole, Supreme Court and affirmative action. The brother was addressing. He went straight for the jugular, and he got a weirdo. Um, I don't know what you call that. When people they could hit a button and then they get lyrics or whatever behind you. The brother got a weirdo sound behind him, but the brother was approaching Psalms 83, and because he wasn't really articulating it the way that he should have articulated it, he got a weirdo sound from one of these, black first who really don't understand what time it is. They got a lot of zeal, but they don't have a lot of knowledge. At any rate, I came in behind the brother. I'm like, okay, so pretty much what the brother was trying to articulate was this. The situation was you had melanated people. And if you don't understand what we understand, the terrain, all melanated people aren't our people. And this is why we suffer what we suffer. And this is why folks don't understand. We're set apart people. And so that's the biggest problem. You got agents with inside of us that look good, that have a large following, but and this is where we're coming down to. When the truth hits the pavement, brothers like him are going to get cut off with the psycho sounds, the psycho music. Brothers like me are going to get downplayed and over talked. So what I think is a lot of these cats, and I'm gonna go ahead and call them out. I have no problem with that, because I think at the end of the day, they're agents. They look, sound, talk good, and stuff like that. But anytime we start to interject the reality of our situation, that's when we get cut off. And so people like I'm just saying Jason Black tonight. You can go listen to his discussion.
Oh
I try to
yeah, I'm
pull
gonna
it
be
back
honest
to the
with you.
Psalms 83.
Yeah, Don. I'm gonna be
Yeah, I
honest
try
with you.
to pull it back to the Psalms 83
Yeah, because I really
because
don't.
truth. The
Hold
brother
on,
was
Don, real
speaking the
quick.
truth. Yeah, Pastor, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, because I really, quite honestly, where I'm at right now. I really don't want to deal with that stuff over there. And I
Oh yeah,
know
yeah, no, I
it's
feel you.
frustration.
You've
That's
been in
I
the
don't want to
fight.
take away
You've
from
been
what
in the
we're.
fight.
Yeah, because I don't
No,
want to take
no,
away from what we taught
no.
tonight.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But you're in. You know what? You're a soldier of truth, and you've been fighting for the truth and required. And I know you've been beaten up, and I ain't trying to drag you into another battle when
Oh
you're
no,
still
I'm
trying
cool,
to.
man. But I'm not beating up. Trust me. It's just one of those things
But
that.
you know what I'm saying, Pastor.
Yeah,
You ain't trying to go
yeah.
from one battle to the next battle. You
Well,
know.
and
But the
right
reality
now,
is, we know who we are, and we got to fight against. We got to fight against the powers that are keeping our people stuck and not knowing who they are and wondering black people. Well, first of all, you need to get your mind off of we're not black people. That was a title that was given to us. That's not who we are. You will never understand where you are if you hold on to that title that we're black people or we're African Americans. You'll never understand anything. You'll be stuck in the matrix that they put you in. So, Pastor, go ahead.
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna let you lead, and we can talk
I was gonna
about
say,
whatever.
yeah, I'm getting some feedback now. I'm not sure if you adjusted anything on your end, but it
Oh,
seems like it's still coming in.
my earpiece fell out. My earpiece fell out. I had to stick it back in.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Well, hey, I
Yeah,
appreciate you
but
jumping
no,
on,
you
brother.
know it's 100%. And I jumped on because it's like the things that you say, um, they are important. It requires commentary, and the thing that I find is our people are really bashful. They actually, they will not get on the line. That's why I'm the only one on the line because they won't get on the line. But I'll get on the line and I'll be like, "What pastor just said? Yeah, that's true. Y'all need to support that." But it's really interesting. Um, it's really interesting spawn. Because when you're talking about truth and logic, man, I'm the only one online. But
Well, I
if you're
think
talking about some foolishness, if you're talking about some foolishness, you lines
well,
are clogged up.
well, I think part of it too is in this case when you're teaching on something that most haven't heard before. And I see it a lot. Even when I'm teaching in our local assembly, it's one of those things like it gives them a lot to think about, and many
Mm,
like don't want to feel like they're talking out. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, I
yeah.
just heard something new. And if I say something, I don't want to sound like you know, trying to go against what I heard. But then at the same time, I'm just not familiar with it. So I'd rather just remain quiet and just take it all in. And I think that's what
You
when
know
these
what
type
was
these type of lessons, I think that's what it is. That's the case.
with this lesson? And you asked the first question, and I put in my response to it. I have always related to Jeremiah as a person because I'm always crying for my people. Man, I hurt for my people. And it was just like really weird. So if you go back in the chat, you can see it's like, I feel him, man. I feel him. It's like as much as he tried to do for his people, they betrayed him. They was going to kill him. And it's just like, wow, wow. And so I really esteem that man of God. I really do, because he went through it. Hey, man, when you brought out that wow, I think it was a 16th chapter, that blew, that was even more related to me. Where the Most High told him, you won't have a wife, which means you won't have a progeny. You won't have lineage. Your whole life is dedicated to me. Brother,
Yeah.
whew, we got to talk about that offline, for real. Me and you, we got to talk about that offline. That blew me away, because as many times I read through the scripture, I never saw that. So I appreciate you for bringing that out. Uh, Most High bless on that. You and I need to talk about that in a little more privacy, in terms of things that are going forward. Um, and I won't say on some other things, because I don't know where that is. But the deal is this: the Most High is working through you brothers. Y'all don't even know, and you're a small percentage of the people that the Most High is working through to bring that uh, resurrected portion, to bring that into fruition. I'm moving my headset, so sorry, it fell out
Yeah.
my ear.
Yeah.
Um, but to
Yeah,
bring
brother.
that into portion is a portion. It's the remaining portion. It's the remnant,
Yeah.
because not all of is going to be saved. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. You blew my mind with a portion of scripture I'd never seen before, and that's how the Most High uses people. Because I don't know how many times I read through the scripture in various different translation, but I never saw do until it was time for the Most High to bring that into, for the whole His Spirit, to bring that to the purview for me to understand who I am and who we are at this time. And so, even as He did that, you know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, He did that with you tonight, for me to see something that I probably read several times over, never saw. So, Most High bless you, Pastor Kelly. Um, I'm always hit you on your Cash App, because I don't want to get no money to nobody else. Cash App is the best thing, in terms of, if you all want to support the people, that's the best way to do it, Cash App, because I don't like them other folks. That's another story. But I support them through Cash App, so support them through Cash App. So anyway, love you, Pastor, and
All right. Love you as
we
well,
gonna
man.
talk later,
Appreciate you.
because there's some stuff going on, man.
All right. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right, family. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for the love and support. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Go back over and look over the lesson, and I'm going to create a playlist for all the lessons that I've done dealing with prophecy. 'Cause I've done some pretty extensive lessons over the past month and a half. Also, I'm going to pull one of the some of my lessons off the shelf, in terms of deal with identity. Really get into some of the things that I taught about but haven't touched on in a while, dealing with the true Israelites and so forth. And we still have to do a playbook. We may even do it tomorrow on the uh, the cartoon that I posted in regards to identity theft, dealing with the true Israelites. That cartoon. What's the name of that cartoon? Trying to think off the top of my head. South Park, and I also want to unpack Roseanne Barr comments that she made as well, and want to deal with the contradictions in terms of the double standards of anything but the Negro. Anyone else could talk about certain things but us. All right. But with that being said, family, I really appreciate the love and support. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this late night here. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up in the words of Moses, or should I say, the words of the Most High, that as he gave these words to Moses to encourage the people, because they was at a place that seemed to be a dead end. They had the Egyptians that was, basically closing in on them. So Moses had to share these words with I was about to say Jeremiah, with Israel. He had to tell them, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, you will never have to deal with them again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. You have to hold your peace. The Hebrew word there is charash, which means be quiet. Can't go.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to...
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just do
Life is like